If you're a beginner gardener and you want to have a strong start to your garden in 2025, I want to go through 10 categories of products I currently use in my garden. And for you more serious gardeners, if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll have some bonus products that I'll throw in there as well. And if you're wondering where to get these items, don't worry, I got you covered in the description with links to every product so you don't have to worry about buying the wrong thing. Number one, grow lights. These clip-on adjustable grow lights came in handy. They're good for areas that don't have a lot of sunlight, maybe in a corner in the room that doesn't have a lot of windows. Best thing I like about these is that they don't take up a lot of floor space. This vertical adjustable grow light is more suited for plants that may be out of reach or at a different elevation. I like the different colors. They offer a little bit more light power, and it's just a good feature to have in your grow room. And my most important grow light is my grow light shelf. Every plant in my garden has seen this shelf. I germinate seeds here. I kind of hold things off until I'm ready to plant here. I got different amounts of spacing so I can hold different size plants. I typically germinate seeds in 2 to 4 days with this shelf. If you're really trying to get on top of seed starting, this is my #1 recommendation. Number 2, seed starting products. I'm going to start off with my grow trays. These grow trays are good and sturdy. You can have them full of seedlings and they don't buckle. It makes it very easy to control bottom watering your seedlings. It just makes it so much easier to carry plants in and outdoors to make sure I can do what I need to do with my seedlings. Next are these silicone seed starting trays. I took a chance on these. I didn't see a lot of the people that I watch using these, but I thought they would be good because they're flexible, and they are. You can get a seedling out very quickly, very easily, and I like that they have a deep shape so you can hold a seedling for a longer period of time. I also like to use these to separate my plants by variety, and I think a 12 cell is good for separating varieties. Last is my heating mat. Now, for those of us who like to get a head start on the season, early spring, maybe late winter, the heating mat is a must in my opinion. This is what allows me to get my seeds up and at a good size, make that perfect timing transplant right as things start to warm up. So when people are starting to plant seeds, I'm already transplanting my plants that are up a size, and that's only possible because of my heating mat that I have indoors. Number 3, fertilizer. For the last couple years, I've been using blood meal and bone meal. I've done a couple trials with them, and it is a night and day difference. It is a longer lasting organic fertilizer. Blood meal is good for leafy growth. Bone meal is good for root growth. I use both. And a bonus one is this acid mix. I noticed a crazy difference on my strawberries when I started applying this acid mix maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks. Number 4, drip irrigation, and this is a big one. If you plan on having more than 200 square feet of growing space, just go ahead and save yourself the trouble and get drip irrigation. I've made this as easy as possible. All of the links in the description under this category are fittings that fit together. You don't have to worry about buying the wrong piece, or does this fit, or is this compatible with this, or am I missing something? Treat the links in the description under the drip irrigation section as a kit. Even if you don't quite know how to connect your drip irrigation, I will do a detailed video on how to do this, but it will do you a lot of good to get this stuff now, so when I do the video, you've already gotten it for a cheaper price than the people that's going to be buying this stuff in the spring, and they're going to buy it for an inflated price. Drip irrigation has changed the game for my garden, just not having to worry about going out and watering so much, especially in July and August, and my watermelons definitely appreciate it. Number 5, row covers. If you've seen some of my videos, you may have already heard me talk about frost protection row covers, but there's more to it than that. There's mesh row covers, there's shade cloth. I promise you, in July and August, that shade cloth is going to buy you a lot of time with your vegetables, being able to extend your original vegetable planting harvest instead of getting cooked in July and August. The mesh is super useful for protecting your plants from harmful insects that you don't like instead of having to spray all of the time, especially for the brassicas. This is a way to get away from the cabbage moth and the cabbage worm without worrying about, well, dang, how long ago did I spray, or do I need to spray right now? You put this mesh cover over, you're good to go. Number 6, raised beds. Since I've started using raised beds, there are some crops that I refuse to grow any other way. They make things super simple, and it's an easy way to keep your good soil in one spot. And especially if you just want a couple beds in the yard and you want things to look neat, a galvanized raised bed is a good option, especially for those of you that have compacted clay soil, don't feel like dealing with all of that, which I understand. You get you a raised bed, fill it up, you're ready to start planting. But I promise you, next year when you go to buy these, they're going to be higher than what they are now. So go ahead and get you some raised beds. Number 7, weed barrier. I know there are a lot of people who are against plastic in the garden, but man, I'm against bending down and killing my back pulling so many weeds. Having plastic in between my watermelon rows this year, I cannot explain how easy that made things for me. Running the drip irrigation, having the plastic, and I just let the watermelons do what they do. Instead of having to constantly go in there and pull weeds, all I had to do was worry about harvesting my watermelons and spend more time doing things that make my garden productive versus the maintenance of the garden. Most people who start a garden, by the time July hits, the weeds have made you give up. If you apply this weed barrier correctly, that will increase your morale in the garden and give you some more energy to keep going. And there's some areas that you may have around the house that you just don't want to deal with. And we've used that here and it looks good and it keeps everything down. We don't have to worry about it. And it also makes it easy to identify some of your buddies that you got coming around here. Number 8, containers. There are a lot of different container options out there, but I'm going to focus on plastic pots and fabric pots. Being able to move things to a better area is super convenient, especially when it gets hot or if it gets too cold. You can move things to a better suited area to extend the harvest of whatever you have in that pot. Some of you guys, you live in apartment complexes or you just have a small patio, you don't want to do a big yard garden. A container is the move for you. And a couple years ago, I planted half of my garden in containers to prove that point. Also, for those of you who love herbs, it's a good way to contain herbs that would otherwise take over your garden. I found out this year, for me, they've been a good option to get away from ground pests. My main crop of sweet potatoes was decimated by ground moles, but I had some backup sweet potatoes in a grow bag. I got 10 pounds of purple sweet potatoes out of one grow bag. Number 9, pump sprayers. I have multiple sizes of pump sprayers depending on what the application is. I started using these maybe 2 years ago and I'm not going back to not using them. For one, just being able to apply foliar sprays and fertilizers and stuff like that, it's just super easy with a pump sprayer. There are certain weather conditions that promote fungal issues in the garden, especially if you got watermelons and other cucurbits and stuff like that, cucumber beetles, all the pests, right? Having a pump sprayer with some home remedies or some organic pesticides makes the world of difference. It's nothing worse than spending 60 to 90 days on a particular plant just for disease or pests to take it out. I've gotten to where now I stay on a strict spray schedule every 2 to 3 weeks during the spring and the summer. That solves a lot of problems for me. Number 10, organic pesticides. Pyrethrin, spinosad, garden phos, liquid copper, all of that. These are the things that keep my garden going for a longer. How long has that noise been? If I have to go to war against pests and disease, these are the products that extend my garden and extend my morale as well. Bonus items: fork, tiller, solar headlamp, solar hat, polytunnels, solar lights, camera system, T-posts. Okay guys, we've gone through just about everything that I use in my garden. Comment below what you're looking to secure with these Black Friday deals for your 2025 garden. See y'all on the next one.